Neymar's 31st birthday. Soccer does not celebrate, does not applaud. Disappointment in the Selecao and in PSG. Time has passed for the Boy Ney. In a discreet way, Neymar has reached his 31st birthday. Collecting expectations and failures in the World Cup, for Brazil, and in the Champions League for PSG. A waste of talent. The perfect chaos. No scandals, no partying until dawn. No crazy models filling their social networks with forbidden photos. No energy drink sponsorship. With his good friend in jail, accused of rape. Worst of all, without the expectation of years ago. The 31st birthday of Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., in Paris, reflected exactly the discreet moment he is living in his career. There is no euphoria from the paparazzi, the world press, even the Brazilian media in publicizing another year in the life of the eternal candidate for the best on the planet. No, there is a general despondency. Journalists and fans are tired of believing, of betting that Neymar would prove to be the extraordinary player he promised. The disappointments, the disillusionment overcame the expectation. It has been 3 World Cups in which an entire country has been disenchanted. In 2014, the revenge of Zuniga, who, provoked, decided to take a very violent knee to the Brazilian's back, removing him from the rest of the Brazil Cup. He escaped the 7-1 loss to Germany. 2018, the feeling was that Neymar would win the World Cup that fate took away. But the outdated tactical scheme and lack of conviction of Tite ended up making the number 10 shirt decide to play alone. He forced senseless dribbles and demanded the ball at his feet. And the worst. He started a festival of bizarre, childish simulations. Tite didn't have the courage to reprimand him. His parkas, friends that he helped financially since he went to Europe, only applauded him and said that he was being chased by referees. And his teammates submitted to his privileges on the field and even in the concentration camp, being the only one to have his family in the same hotel as the delegation. Despite CBF's promise that this would not happen. Fall in the quarterfinals, against Belgium. One more frustration to add to the list. Here comes 2022, when he is 30 years old. Tite is even more lost. He did not know how to deal with so much offensive talent. And emotional commitments, like calling Daniel Alves. Or fielding a disjointed team in defense, midfield, and attack against Cameroon. With the regrettable mistake of putting Alex Telles, Alex Sandro's reserve left-back, who had been injured against Switzerland. Alex Telles blew out his knee against the Africans and Brazil had to improvise Danilo, right-back, on the left. And the defender Militao as a right-back, since Daniel Alves had no condition to play the World Cup. Meanwhile, Neymar was injured against Serbia in the opening game. And only returned in the round of 16, against South Korea. While Tite did the pigeon dance, the Brazilian felt pain and saved himself. Croatia came and the number 10 managed to score the decisive goal in extra time, which would take Brazil to the semi-finals. If the coach had the guts to keep his team holding the advantage. Tite didn't have it and Croatia equalized on a counter-attack and won on penalties. Without Neymar, the best Brazilian penalty taker, he didn't take the penalty. He wanted to preserve himself for the 5th penalty kick that never came, because the Selecao was eliminated before. After crying desperately on the pitch, realizing perhaps it was his last cup, he had no support from Tite, who rushed to the locker room. Destroyed psychologically, as he assured, he threw 2 iconic parties in Brazil, a week after the country's elimination from the World Cup in Qatar. Spectacular psychological recovery, guaranteed the guest models, who described that in one of these parties there were fake notes on the floor. And the theme of the party was, "Time is money." Neymar had little time to return to PSG, defeated yet again. Neymar had to clap for his other 2 PSG teammates, Messi and Mbappe, who managed to take their teams to the final in Qatar. And the Argentine, from whom he fled in Spain in his dream of becoming the best in the world, was consecrated once and for all with the most coveted cup, the FIFA Cup. In the most important club tournament, there are 6 seasons of frustration. Neymar was the most expensive player in history, 1.2 billion Brazilian reals, for only one objective: to make PSG win the Champions League. He turned his back on Barcelona, left through the back door, for the termination fine, without negotiation. He left the shadow of Messi and Suarez. He selfishly dismantled the most incredible attack in the world. To try to be the best on the planet and win the Champions League for the royal family of Qatar. 6 seasons of failure. Starts his 7th in the shadow of not only Messi, but also Mbappe. In other words, Neymar never lived up to the dreams of the Brazilian national team and also of PSG. His private life was exposed like a gossip magazine. He provided material at will. Romance with comings and goings with global actress, Bruna Marquezine. Sex scandal with Najla Trindade. Very poorly explained departure from Nike, with the right to accuse a female employee of harassment. Netflix series about his life, assuming the title that lives, The Perfect Chaos. The endless ballads on her nights off. For a while now, driven by wine. Problems in court with the Spanish and Brazilian tax authorities. Journalists didn't need to run after the news, they just came. Neymar, who was a synonym of great hope for a country lacking achievements with the Seleção since 2002, became a mere disappointment. The player's defenders justify that he was the only player with differentiated talent in this generation of the Seleção. Pelé had Garrincha, Rivellino, Didi, Gerson, Jairzinho, Tostão, as teammates. That Ronaldo had Rivaldo, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldinho Gaucho. Romario had Bebeto, Mazinho, Branco. But Neymar was selfish. He demanded privileges and accepted that coaches made Philippe Coutinho, Gabriel Jesus, Rafinha, Vinicius Jr., Richarlison, Oscar play for him. The result was vexatious for the Seleção. At PSG he also continued to have perks, and collected a very weak French championship and never won a Champions League. He has never even been among the top 3 players in the world since he moved to Paris. He arrives at the age of 31, a billionaire. Physically he is already worn out by the endless ballads since he was 17. Without his private party entertainer, his friend Daniel Alves, arrested in Spain on rape charges. Neymar celebrated his birthday discreetly yesterday. The world also did not pay the attention it paid to the Brazilian. He is behind Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, Modric, De Bruyne, Benzema, Vinicius Jr. He is no longer the headline. Nor is he the Boy Ney anymore. He is a 31-year-old man, with an excellent career. Gigantic talent. But he could go much further than he did. Who dreams of going to the United States, where players' vacations are longer? And then end his career in festive Rio de Janeiro. Wearing Flamengo's shirt. He doesn't know if he will have the vitality and will to compete in the 2026 World Cup. At 34 years of age. Yesterday's birthday party was discreet. Disappointed, Brazil was tired of clapping for him. Happy birthday, Neymar.